Hi, I'm Kitty Feldy from KPCC, and welcome back to another edition of the Book Club of the Air for Young Adults. This is where we all gather in the children's reading room here at the Downtown LA Library, and you can come on down and watch us, as a matter of fact. First Wednesdays of the month. We're here about 4 in the afternoon. But just in case you weren't here, you're going to be able to hear the conversation anyway. And every month we talk about a new book. This month our book is called Zazoo, and it's by Richard Mosher. And my group of book clubbies this month are all from Carver Middle School in South LA, and we will say hello to Marlene Castro. Hi, Marlene.
Hi.
And Jacqueline Hernandez. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi.
And Jose Rojas. Hi, Jose.
Hi.
Hi. Well, let's start off with Zazoo and tell people who maybe didn't read the book yet what it's all about. Why don't you start us off, Marlene?
Zazoo is about a Vietnamese girl who was turned an orphan when she was young, and her parents were killed in the war by a bomb, and so Zazoo was brought to France. Was taken to France by her adoptive grandfather, whose name is Pierre, and he's just been taking care of her. But she's now a teenager, and she's finding a lot of things about what her Pierre has done in the past, and that he was involved in the war, and that he was called a hero, but he wasn't really a hero. He was just people thought he was a hero because he had killed many soldiers, but he didn't think he was a hero.
We'll come back to those wars in a minute, but Jacqueline, why don't you tell us about the other characters besides the grand-père?
There's Monsieur Clean, the pharmacist. Zazoo goes and talks to him, what happened in the past to him too. And he all the time she goes there, and then get details what happened in the past. And then one day she met this boy named Marius. And then he had binoculars, he liked seeing birds. So and then Zazoo just when she saw him, she knew that she liked him. And then he lives in Paris. He went to Paris. He gave letters to Monsieur Clean to give to Marius, and Marius sent letters to Monsieur Clean to give to Zazoo. So that's the way they talk by letters. Yeah.
No email for them.
No.
Well, it takes place in a very unusual part of France. Tell us a little bit about that, Jose.
Mostly it's in a little village where Zazoo lives, but away from the village in a mill called the Mill of 1,000 Years, or I think they also said the Mill of 1,000 Tears, and that's where Zazoo lives in the tower, in the tower room, and Pierre sleeps in the bottom.
And describe what grand-père does. I mean, where's that tower?
Well, it's in the mill where Zazoo and Pierre lives, at the very top.
And they live by a river.
Yeah, and the canal.
And the canals, yeah. Describe what a canal does, because I don't think we in Los Angeles, the only time I ever saw a canal was when I went to Holland. I mean, I never saw one living in California before. What does a canal do?
A canal is like a little river, but it has logs that keep on going higher and higher.
They raise the water up and down?
Yeah, they have a little gate, so when the water it flows down, so that the water could rise up and they could pass on to the next log. And I think there's about 43 logs.
Wow. And that's because the river's at different heights in different parts of the country, so they have to be able to get the boats up and down. Otherwise, you could only go one way. Yeah. Marlene, you talked about the war. What wars are we talking about in this book? A couple of wars.
Yeah, it's about the French and I think the German.
So it's the Second World War.
Yeah.
But Zazoo's from a different war. What war is she from?
She's from Vietnam.
Yeah, the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of mysteries in this book.
Yes, very. Like, Zazoo's finding out that Grandpierre was that Monsieur Klein and her Grandpierre hadn't spoken in a long time because they were Monsieur Klein thought that his family, his mother, father, and sister were killed because of Grandpierre, because of his pride.
What happened that?
Grandpierre was like, he had a lot of pride, so he was like a very good shooter. So they had a lot of contests, and they tried to shoot at bottles and see which one was better, the German or the French. So Grandpierre won one of the German I think, the general, the German. So
Actually,
the lieutenants, yeah, the lieutenants.
So you beat the German soldier at
The
shooting?
lieutenant.
Yeah, shooting bottles.
And then what happened? Jacqueline?
Then like
Do you remember?
The lieutenant sent his soldiers to to hang Isabel because Isabel was everybody knew that Grandpierre really loved Isabel because they danced tango. So that's why they killed Isabel. But it was like no really reason to do that.
If somebody was just tuning in, they'd think this was very confusing. Was this plot, the story, confusing to you when you were reading it?
at first it was, but then like I kept on reading. It was like more interesting, and I got the plot.
When did it start making sense to you? When did you sort of go, oh, I know what's going on here?
Like when Zazoo asked Grandpierre like what happened like in the past and what of the war, like the war, and then it started making sense to me, like how Grandpierre.
A lot of times when we do books that aren't set today, a lot of times the readers tell me they just are bored because they don't like history. Do you guys like history?
Yeah.
Do you? Why?
Because like we can learn from the past, like the wars and everything, like things, like many things they used before, we use them now, and like things like that.
What about you, Jose? Do you like history stories?
Yeah, very much, because it's getting me interested in being an archaeologist when I grow up.
Really?
Probably.
So you'll have to know history then. Your whole life will be all about history. Well, tell me what it is about the past that fascinates you, Jose.
The many artifacts that there are hidden in the ground that we still need to discover.
Have you ever gone to a dig before to see people?
No.
No. You've seen TV shows on it or books on it?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's very cool. They do a dig here at the La Brea tar pits. In the summertime, you can go see them dig for not dinosaur bones.
Once I went there and wanted to dig, but it was closed.
I think they only open it because they don't have enough money, so they only do it in the summertime when it's really hot, unfortunately. But they do the digging there, and it's not dinosaurs. It's what is it? It's another era of ancient animals that they look for there. So, what about you? Were you a history buff at all, Marlene?
I'm not really. I kind of like it, but it's like more history, like fiction. Some like fiction, but that has like history about it.
So you can read historical fiction, as
Yeah.
they call it? Yeah. All right. Now, one of the things Zazoo is quite a poet. Did you like the poetry in the book?
Yeah.
You did, Jacqueline. Why?
Cause she gave her feelings in the poems, and she sent them to Marius by letter, and then he used to write back that he liked the poems.
Mm-hmm. Do you like to write poems?
Kind of. Yeah.
Are you a poet, Marlene?
Not really.
Do you like to read poetry?
Yeah, but sometimes I find it like quite confusing sometimes.
Because the images are confusing
Like sometimes the words, like you really don't know what the poet's talking about.
Yeah. Do you ever have to get a dictionary to look it up?
Yeah.
What about you, Jose?
I don't really like it that much, but even though at the beginning of the semester of school we had to memorize some poems and recite them in class.
Which ones? Do you remember any now?
I don't remember very much, but I remember the title of one.
Which was?
I think it was called "All That Is Gold Does Not Glitter."
You remember that one too?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, if this is the scariest thing, those poems that you learn at your age, when you get as old as me, sometimes you still remember them. I don't know why. I don't remember anything else. Why am I remembering poems from when I was in 6th grade? I don't know. It's so scary. But I don't like reading poems for a really dumb reason. You know, when you read a book, you know, and it goes from side to side in prose, that's what they call this kind of fiction writing. But when you get to a poem, for some reason, my eyes get really lazy. And it's like, what's wrong with this? It's not filling up very much of the page, you know? What's wrong with them? So for some reason, I don't like reading poetry very much. But I really like it when somebody else reads it to me, because it's like music to me. So I like to be read too. But if I had to sit down with a book of poetry, I'd throw it across the room. I'd do anything except read it. But I never thought about what you said, Jacqueline, that in poetry a lot of times you can speak from your heart more than you can in prose. Yeah. This book, you know, as we said, has a sort of a, would you describe it as a mystery book? Or how would you describe it? As a history? What would you say, a romance?
It would be, yeah, like mystery and romance, I think, because
And a bit of history, since it was about before, like the World War II and of Vietnam, and Germany versus France.
Okay, so we've got 3 things. Anything else that it is?
I think like it's romantic and like it's from history. Like they talk about the war,
Yeah.
like what happened in the past.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, of course, it would be the guy that would say it's about war. It's a history book about war, and the girls would say it's a romance. That's sort of the way we all look at it, right? How much did you guys know about the Second World War before you read this book? Did you study that in school at all yet? No?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I learned about it in 5th grade.
In 5th grade. And what did you learn about it?
That it was like that people from all over the world were fighting because of something, that every country was fighting against another country, and there was no country that was peaceful.
There's no country that was peaceful?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I think Switzerland stayed out of it, but that was a very rare thing. So, but you guys don't remember that in 5th grade, huh?
No.
Where were you in 5th grade? What about the Vietnam War? Did you study the Vietnam War in school?
We didn't. No.
No?
The Vietnam.
Not yet.
No.
Our history books were so old when I went to school, they didn't have the Second World War in them. Our books were really old, so. And I'm not that old. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. When you guys are, well, tell me some more things about this book, though. Was there a particular character you liked the best in this book?
I like Zazoo, like the way she acts.
Why? What about her makes you like her?
Like she's really interested in stuff. Like when she asks Grandpierre about the war and Monsieur Clean, like she's interested in stuff about the past.
Are you interested in stuff about the past? Do you ask
Yeah.
people in your family about things in the past?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you remember those stories?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. What about you? What did you like? Who did you like the best?
I think
Marlene?
Zazoo, because there's like many teenagers of her age. They're like they're not really interested in things about the past. They like more the present.
Yeah.
And I think it's like really, Zazoo's like a really caring person to care before of Grandpierre instead of herself.
Who did you like the best, Jose?
I like the best Marius because he was very mysterious, and the book didn't say much about him, like at the beginning. So only that he sent notes to Zazoo with like a little drawing on the front of Paris, and things like that.
Did this book make you want to go to Paris or to that small village in France?
Yeah.
Why? No?
Yeah. Like they sound like it's interesting there.
Very different from here.
Yeah.
Tell us, let's think about that, because I was trying to think, when did this take place? Can we tell from the book when this took place? We know it was after World War II. Did it take place today, do you think? Tell me how you think not. Jose, what are the clues This is sort of a mystery for us to figure out. What are the clues that are there to tell us when this was or was not?
Probably because like there's not that many mills now, so
Yeah, that's true.
probably because there was that mill. But the weird thing is that it's 1,000 years old.
The mill. It's hard to imagine something that old, isn't it?
Yeah, how can it not fall down? Something that old would fall apart instantly.
Well, of course, they don't have as many earthquakes in France as we do here in California. That's one reason things fall down here. What else? What are the other reasons we don't have things that are 1,000 years old?
Because right here, like, we keep thinking of the future and making better technology for so that we can improve on things like school, entertainment, and stuff like that.
So we keep creating new things and we tear down the old things.
Yeah.
Especially in Los Angeles. We do that a lot here. A lot here. That's, as a matter of fact, you know, this building we're in, the library building, there were 2 very bad fires that happened here in this building, and there was a lot of talk about should we just tear it down and start over again. And some people in Los Angeles decided that this building was very special to a lot of people. And so they did a very clever thing. They sold the airspace above the building. You know how this building's only about 5 stories tall? But what's around us, all these very tall buildings? And so what they did was they said, well, you know, you, the building of this library building, you could have a building that's that tall too. Or you could sell what would be the tall part above your building to somebody else, and they can build twice as much. And that's what they did. That's how they got the money to rebuild this library, was they sold air. They sold airspace to that building across the street. And so that building across the street is twice as high as it could be, should be, or would be allowed to be. And so the library got all the money for its airspace. And so that's how they built it. But why else are there not really, really old things here where we live?
Because like people don't use them like a lot because there's new stuff to use now, new technology, new stuff that they make.
So we just don't value old things?
Like sometimes, yeah, but like sometimes it's easier with like new stuff.
What about old buildings, Marlene? Why don't we have really, really old, like that mill, 1,000 years old? How come we don't have stuff that's that old here?
Some people, they might be scared that it could tear down by itself, like being so old, so they really don't live in places like that.
Of course, the other reason, I guess, is that we weren't here that long. You know, the people who were here originally were the Native Americans, and they didn't build big, tall buildings, so their stuff was kind of portable. They'd take it with them. Yeah. When you look at this book, does it remind you of anything else that you've ever read before? Another story? Nothing like anything. Very different for you, huh, Jose? What about you, Jacqueline? Does this remind you of either another place or another story, or
No.
nothing at all
It's
either?
like the first one, that's why it was really interested for me.
That's why I picked it. What about you, Marlene? Does this remind you of anything else?
I don't think it does.
It's fair, but talk about why it's unusual. It's unusual because, of course, it takes place in a different kind of world. But what else?
Is because it tells you a lot about things about teenagers and how they care, like she's caring for her grandpeer, and then how they move from different places. Like she was born in Vietnam and now she's living in France, and she's more used to France than Vietnam.
Do you have kids at your school who come here from other countries too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they feel different like Zazoo does when they compare themselves to American kids?
Sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Do they? Zazoo also takes care of her grandparent what's wrong with grandparent?
Supposedly he's losing his mind. Like he's forgetting stuff that happened in the past, so his memory is not too well. So he can't tell us also many things that happened before.
Yeah, and it gets kind of scary because you wonder, is he still going to be able to take care of Zazoo in the book?
Yeah, like when I read that part, I thought like he was gonna die and leave Zazoo, but like he didn't.
Yeah. What about her boat? What was her boat like? What did she call it?
It was a punt.
A punt. What a
Yeah.
great word that is.
Yeah.
We think about a punt in football. You know, Jose, you know what a punt is in football? No. It's when one team is, they're run out of downs, they're down to the fourth down, and then they kick the ball way far away so the other team has a harder time getting a first down. But that's in football. This is not that. It doesn't look like a football, does it?
No.
It's a different kind of. Where did the word come from? Do you remember?
It came from her real grandfather's, I think, boat.
Yeah.
I think it was English boat.
It was an English boat.
Yeah, it's an English word, isn't it? Except that her real punts use a pole. What does she use?
She
I think those are in Italy.
Poles are in, those are called gondolas. That's what they use, those poles, and they sing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So did this make you want to go to France?
Yeah, because I thought it would be nice to go there and see new stuff from there.
You seem like you'd want to be a traveler. Jose wants to be an archaeologist. What do you want to be?
I actually want to be like a doctor.
A doctor.
Yeah,
What kind of doctor do you know?
like for children.
Pediatrician. Good for you.
Yeah.
How about you, Marlene? Have you thought about what you want to do?
I would like a pediatrician as well.
Do you?
Yes.
You both could put up with screaming children coming in?
Yes.
And you could give shots to screaming children?
Probably, yes.
That would be really hard because if they're moving around, they can't get right into the vein because it needs to be right on the vein.
You're right. You're right. My mom was a nurse. She was a teacher, and then she went back to school and became a nurse. And she said the thing she was really bad at was just that, was giving shots, because she could never find the vein. So nobody ever wanted her to practice on them because she couldn't do it very well. Well, does that mean you guys are good at science and math at school?
Yeah, and math. Yeah, and science.
That's good. That's really good. And next year you guys leave Carver, right?
No.
No, you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's middle school, so it's 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah.
In the old days, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th. So if you weren't reading Zazoo this week, what would you choose to be reading? What kinds of books do you like to read?
Like things about the past, like interesting books.
Like, what's your favorite book?
Like I was reading The Wanderer. It was about like a girl that went out to sail, and her mom didn't wanted her to go, but then she said yeah, and then she wrote all the stuff that she did while she was gone.
That's a good book, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the storm is very scary in that book.
Yeah.
That's a very good book. Yeah. What about
In the
you?
book, I'm reading the same book, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like Zazoo because
Why?
they're she's an orphan as well. She was adopted, and it's kind of, she thinks that her adopted uncles treat her differently because she's adopted and because she's a girl. Because everybody on the board is they're guys, so they treat her differently.
Interesting. Orphans show up a whole lot in books, don't they? In kids' books. I don't know why.
Yeah, because maybe like for people if they're an orphan, if they read it, they think makes them feel better to be an orphan.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Why else do you think, Jose?
What?
Why do you think they keep putting orphans in books? Do you read the book, the series of unfortunate events?
Yeah.
I kind of figured that would be one of yours. What do you especially like to read, though?
What do I like to read?
What's your favorite book?
Encyclopedia Brown.
Really? You like to sit around with the encyclopedia?
No,
Oh, Encyclopedia Brown. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's a real brainiac. He goes to the library and checks out the encyclopedia. He must know everything. No, Encyclopedia Brown, which is great detective books, right?
Yeah.
Can you figure it out before him?
No, not always. I mostly think about it really hard, but I mostly never get the person that did something wrong or how they did it to make an encyclopedia solve it.
I know, I'm not very good at that either.
That, but in a case called the case, I think it was the case of the cracked firecrackers
Uh-huh.
that supposedly encyclopedia, and his partner Sally got a call from somebody to meet him in an open space. There were like a lot of firecrackers cracked right there when this person called Bugs, which is always trying to get back on encyclopedia for ruining his plans to take money from kids. He called the police, and then he told the police that they were cracking firecrackers all summer, but encyclopedia told the police that it couldn't be possible because the birds were right there peacefully. So supposedly that Bugs is, because he's like in a gang called the Tigers, that his tigers had cracked all the firecrackers all over the summer, and that they placed them there so they could get Encyclopedia and Sally.
I have a feeling you really liked this book a lot.
Yeah.
So how many Encyclopedia Browns have you read?
I think only 4.
Oh, well, that's not bad. You got a whole shelf full to get through. So would you suggest this to other people? Would you recommend that other people read Zazoo?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, well, the book is called Zazoo, and it's by Richard Mosher, and we want to thank our group who's here from Carver Middle School, the 6th grade group, Marlene Castro, Jacqueline Hernandez, and Jose Rojas. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I hope you'll stay with us next month. We'll be tackling another book, and you can participate in one of 2 ways. Either come down and watch us make TV the first Wednesday of the month at the Downtown LA Library in the Children's Reading Room, or if you'd like to be on the show itself, send us an email to bookcluboftheair, just spell it all out, at yahoo.com. I'm Kitty Feldy. Thanks so much for joining us today. So what else are you reading right now? Anything else interesting you're reading? Did you read the paper? Anybody read the newspaper? Comics?
No.
I love reading the comics. It's my favorite thing to do in the morning. And I do that Sudoku puzzle. I'm really bad at it.
Oh, yeah.
Like with the numbers one. You guys are math people. You could probably do it really fast.
It's hard for me, like, to find the words.
The Sudoku is easy though, because it's supposedly easy because it's not words, it's numbers. You just